Hello, Abigail. Thank you very much for joining us at High Converting Funnels. And it's amazing that you can help us with time management. Just so everybody knows, you are an author, you're a coach and a public speaker as well. And your main topic and your expertise is in time management. So I hope everybody will enjoy all your answers. But so far, the questions we got for you are, what is your mission? Tell us a little bit about it. Why do you care about time management at all?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. It is awesome to be here with you. And my mission, or our mission, is literally we would like to help 1 million people by 2025 get better work-life balance. Because as you said, I'm an author, so I wrote the book Time Management for Entrepreneurs about 6 years ago now. And as we have gone on the journey and worked with clients, sold the book, had conversations, chatted to people, the major thing that has come out is that they all want to have more time, but they don't necessarily have that time to start. They're feeling stressed out, overwhelmed, and they don't have any balance. So we are helping them address this before we even get to the conversations about specifically what they can do to have that more time.
What is your 888 formula? It sounds interesting.
So the 888 formula is actually how we teach them or help them to work out where in their life they're out of balance. So I like to joke that we help people with mathematics by teaching them how to divide 24 by 3. So for those people in your audience who are quick at maths, they will recognize that it is basically the optimum way to break down a 24-hour day. So we all have to sleep, we all have to rest. That is the first thing that we start with. Then we all have life, we've all got activities, we've all got things that we need to do, and then finally 8 hours for work. Now, the thing that makes people laugh is that nobody spends 8 hours working, nobody really gets to spend 8 hours sleeping, and then people are rushing around trying to get all of their house chores activities done in order to live this happy, balanced life. So we recognize that 888 as a formula can be a little bit frustrating and possibly a fantasy for some people, but we kind of call it like a wake-up call to help people recognize where they're out of balance, so that therefore they can start to create a plan to bring it back.
It's a great mission and a great way of planning the life. So probably you already partially answered one of the questions, is for parents and business owners who are feeling overwhelmed at times, what would you suggest? How could they overcome this stress of pressure that they have to be great parents, fathers and moms? They have to have an organized, more or less organized home. And then, of course, they have to deliver value and results for their clients.
Yeah. So I guess the first thing,
and live.
And live. So the first thing that we do in all of this is we say to people, okay, take a breath. Like literally, take a breath. Remember, in all of this, you're a human being, and there's only so much time in the day to get everything done. So you take this breath, you look at everything that needs to be done, all of the people, all of the activities that are calling this, and you start to prioritize what absolutely has to be done, what has to be done today, what has to be done by me. And we have something called the traffic light formula, which we teach people to help them to prioritize their to-do list, where number 1 activities are green activities. These are activities, so what in your business is making you money. Number 2 activities are amber, what is leading to the money. So this could be the business development kind of activities. And then number 3 are red activities. These are sort of like the admin the operations, all the things that need to be done. And obviously, depending on the stage you're at in your business, you will still need to do some of the Amber activities yourself. But the idea is that you get to a stage where you outsource some of those activities to people such as yourselves to do, because in every business we all have a zone of genius, a core skill set that we actually bring to what it is that we do, and everything else is detracting from our ability to be the best. And when we, one activity at a time, outsource it as the money comes in, as the budget's there, one step. So I guess what we're doing by the first thing, breathe. The second thing is reminding people Rome was not built in a day. It is one step at a time. Nobody has, built a $1 billion business overnight. Most of them take 10 plus years. And what is that traditional thing that they say in the personal development? Overnight success, longest night of my life.
That's so true.
So yeah.
Yeah, you almost answered the next question. How do you manage your business time? So let's focus on the 1/8 of the three. How do you manage the business time so it won't taking over your life? So how do you turn off the 8 hours, and within the 8 hours of working hours, how do you manage to be efficient and still staying on top of everything?
I think, and don't quote me on this, I think it was Stephen Covey who said this in one of his 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, which is begin with the end in mind. Might have been Stephen Covey, can be corrected. So always we work out what it is that we want to achieve, and then we break it down into what are the steps that we need to do to get there. All the goals, all activities in a business take time. So you're not doing every single activity in one day. We don't have a goal to, we run events every quarter. So we don't have a goal to run an event. And on day one, we have to have the content, all the sponsors, filled the room, worked out everything. It takes time, and we break it down into what are the steps, and what do we need to do today, and what do we need to do tomorrow, and what do we need to do next month. So they call that sort of chunking, and really it's about breaking down your major goal into chunks,
and then it will be more edible. This is what for a baby. He can't start eating all the big piece of, I don't know, food, but we have to slice it up into little chunks, so it's more
exactly. And I think that one of the sort of the big things to mention that some people, depending on what stage of the business they're at, they can get a little bit concerned about is, I don't necessarily know what to do first. I've never done it before. And the baby is a good analogy. If you've not had a child before, you actually don't really know how to raise it. And a business is a little bit like another child. You work it out on the way. There's no perfect blueprint, roadmap, or anything. It is trial, error, rinse and repeat.
Yes. And then for those who afraid of failure, or waiting for the perfect time and working on the project behind the scenes to make it perfect, it's just no, as you said. So we have to start, and then just start with chunks, and we will reach the goal, but it won't be perfect.
And I think the big thing is like the fear of failure and needing to be perfect is really all around an addiction to other people's approval, which sort of comes back to childhood, how you were raised as a child. So the belief is I can't put things out yet because it might not be right, and people will judge me, and I will be laughed at, and etc., etc. The reality is most people are too busy doing their own thing. If they're judging you, they're not necessarily judging you, they're judging themselves. And anybody who has an opinion about you trying something or giving something a go, who cares what they think? It's a game. Play the game. And business is a huge amount to do with courage and self-belief. And so we really need to learn how to care more about what we think than what other people think. And this is one of the biggest lessons that I've experienced in the last sort of 1 or 2 years, really, of the 5 years that I've been in business. Mindset's everything.
Yeah, well, it's an inner game, and there's so much psychology behind the scenes we have to work on until we get on the surface and we become a one-night success.
Yeah.
Right. So the next question is, what's the best business advice you have ever received?
Well, then this links nicely to what we were just saying. I would say the best business advice I've ever received is just do it. A mentor of mine has a phrase, his is JFDI. Obviously the F is a swear word, so I won't say it, but it is just effing do it. So what is the worst thing that will happen? So regret is actually worse than any kind of failure. Yes. Because at least you tried. They give out prizes for trying. They don't give out prizes for staying safe and living in the cave and not making any mistakes. That's a life not lived.
Yeah, it's more about starving if you stay in the cave, isn't it?
Exactly. And we feel and we fear that leaving the cave we will starve, because I might do something wrong and then it will all, the mind is a very funny thing. It will work for you or it will work against you. It is your choice. And literally it is a constant reset, minute by minute by minute, until it becomes the new story that you tell yourself. And we as a society, as a world, are programmed to believe the negative because it's quote unquote keeping us safe, but it's actually keeping us, small and stopping us from being the change we want to see in the world.
Yeah, highly agreed. So the next question is, if you could call on the phone your 20-year-old self, what advice would you give her?
Yeah, well then, again, this is obviously the theme of the conversation. My 20-year-old self, I would just say JFDI. Seriously. I spent many, many years processing all of these stories, which is why I know them so well, which is also why I come from a school of no judgment of other people who may be changing their stories for new ones. So 20 years ago, yeah, the glass was half full, everything was hard, there was no way it was going to work, it would definitely not work for somebody like me, everybody else could have it, all of these stories. And so, yeah, now I would just say, just do it. Seriously, just do it. What's the worst that could happen?
That's probably the reason why so many young kids are becoming so successful, because they just don't. JFDI.
Yeah, and it is true. But at any point in time, we can reprogram the computer ourselves. We don't have to accept the programming that we've been given. We are not victims. We are here to rise. And it is our choice to choose to rise. Equally, it is our choice to choose not to rise. Everybody is here for a different reason. Whatever makes you happy, you have to do. Like, I will never tell anyone to do anything. My whole job and role here in life, I feel, Kitty, is to just be a source of positivity and possibility, and to show people the power of reframing. Somebody said to me the other day, I'm an optimist. They said, you're so optimistic. I'm like, yeah, that glass is always half full and the sun is always going to come out. That's how I live my life.
Or at least we jump on a plane and we will get over the clouds.
Exactly. The sun is always there. It's always there. And this is one of the other sort of mindset tools. It doesn't matter how bad it looks today. If you can find some courage to keep going, you do have no idea what is around the corner. And this has happened to me so many times in business where I have just doubted, oh, this isn't working, that isn't working, oh, I should just give up. You know the story of Chinese bamboo? Have you heard this? That Chinese bamboo takes between 4 to 5 years to grow. So year 1, nothing. Year 2, nothing. Year 3, nothing. So the farmer is like, well, what should I do? I may as well just quit. Year 4, nothing. And then suddenly, overnight, it grows like 30 foot in a month. Now, was it always growing, or did it just grow in that month? And this is what business is like, is we are putting things into play. It's not necessarily, there is no overnight success magic pill. Everything, someone said to me the other day, success in business, there is the difference between trying hard and working hard. He said 99.9% of people work hard. I try hard. So I try this, I try this, I try this, I try this, I pivot, I pivot, I pivot, I pivot, and then it works. Where others are like, oh, I work so hard, I work 18-hour days. There's no medal for working hard. Nobody's going to applaud you for the results at the end. And I think it's like a fear in our heads that we think that people will think that we had it too easy, so they will hate on us. As I said at the start, no one actually cares. They're all too in their own heads about their own lives.
Oh.
You thought this conversation was just about time management. It's about mind management.
Yeah, it is. I'm going to grow some bamboos here as well. No, I'm already doing that, but inside, I think that's what we all do. We are growing and improving, and we just put the energy and put all the knowledge inside us, and then it's when our glass is full, then it can pour over, and we can give to others, but when the glass is not full, we cannot give enough. But it takes time to fill that glass.
Yes, and you give from the saucer, not from the cup.
Yeah,
glass,
that makes sense. All right, and what's your best way of managing procrastination? Stay focused while you are bored of a task, and it's not just like being bored of a task, but any type of, there are many different types of
This is such a big one. Again, it is really knowing why you are doing something, so having the end goal, so recognizing what this activity is going to contribute to the end, and then giving yourself a reward when you get that activity done. Because as humans, without a reason to be motivated, we just can't. And motivation doesn't always have to be about money. Sometimes motivation can be about the role that this task is playing in the bigger picture, or we can motivate ourselves with a phone call to somebody, a time out, a delicious lunch, a cup of tea, a tea with a biscuit. There's so many ways to motivate yourself to get to whatever it is. Book an exercise class, so you have a drop dead time that you have to finish something by, and book the exercise class with a friend. So then you would have to tell that friend, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't finish my work. Now you sound, and your friend is like, oh. So it's about working out sort of what is going to motivate you to get something done. And some tasks in business are not exciting. So yeah, motivation and chunking it down, maybe trying the Pomodoro technique, which is sort of 25 minutes of focused time, and then 5 minutes of rest, and then another 25 minutes and 5 minutes of rest. It is interesting, when it comes to focus, it takes you 20 minutes to focus, and it takes you 20 minutes to refocus. So depending on what kind of activity you have to get done, you might want to spend 90 minutes of chunking time to do it, so that you have enough time to go down, to focus, to do the work, and then to finish. So it depends what the activities are. Also, some little hacks are using music. So there's a great playlist on Spotify that I like to use to listen to. It's called, I think, Focus Time or Focus Work or something like this. But just finding a music that slows your brain down enough that you can focus. So this is another interesting thing, like certain music will help you to focus, certain music will make you want to have a dance party. But you have to work. Classical music is quite good for focus as well. But yeah.
These are very great tips. Thank you very much.
Turning off all of the tabs, turning off your email, turning off your phone notifications. Basically put yourself into lockdown. That's when it's a good time to go into the cave.
Yes, to be productive.
Yeah.
What I find sometimes it's hard for me, for example, managing the social media part. Some tasks can be managed from outside of the platform with the social media management platform, but not all of them. And when you enter, it's just, even though I use some of the built-in solutions in the application, hey, I don't want to receive any notifications, still it's just coming up. It doesn't care about my needs as a business owner, that, hey, this is not my free time, this is my work time, and still stuff are coming up, and it's so hard from that.
So we have a little hack for that one of our clients really resonated with them, and I think they still do it now. You know, in your kitchen you have a timer. Maybe you have this like that you can set, like a remote timer. I think it's always good to have one of those. You can buy them, you know, for a couple of pounds, dollars, whatever. You set this timer for like 30 minutes before you go into the social media black hole. You set the timer, and the timer goes off, and it shocks you out of the black hole, because it is too easy to get sucked into a notification here, a thing here, a la la la, because everything needs to be done, but it doesn't necessarily need to be done right now. And this worked really well for the client. Like, the timer, they said, was a real trigger. I was in a Facebook black hole. I was in a Twitter black hole. I was in an Instagram black hole.
It's so easy to get lost.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm going to buy one of these.
The kitchen timer, yeah.
Timers. I have some on the phone and even on my watch.
But we would have it on the phone, but we're so used to just turning it off. There is something about the noise of a kitchen timer that is not in our general day-to-day awareness. So when we hear it, it's much more annoying. It's much more alerting. I don't know if this makes any sense to you, but
yeah,
as time and life has gone on, we have got so used to pressing snooze, to ignoring the timer. Like, on the phone, it is not too annoying, but think of like the noise a fire alarm makes. It's persistent, and that really gets into you, like a smoke alarm or whatever. So the kitchen timer is the same kind of approach.
Great. So I'm going to go for some shopping, not into the clothes section, but into the kitchen section. That's probably even more dangerous for me, though.
But you just go in there with one mission.
Yes, focus.
I am here for the $1 egg timer, please. Yeah.
Yes. What is the one thing that has the biggest impact on our time management based on the 80-20 rule? If we focus on that one thing for 1 month, for example, that would help us achieve a way much better lifestyle with our time management.
Yeah, so it is funny, we have we have created something called the 20/80 rule rather than the 80/20 rule. And the 20/80 rule is basically there are things on your to-do list which are creating the results, but you're only spending 20% of your time on them. You're spending 80% of your time on other activities. So if you can work out what those are on your to-do list and invert it so you spend 80% of your time on one or two activities that will move the needle, that will get you the results, then that will help you to grow it. So I guess that's another way of saying your 80, the original 80/20. So it really does come down to, it depends what business you're in, but you have to work out what are the activities, what are those green activities that are leading or that are creating the revenue, and then what are those orange activities that are leading to it. But they are only 1, 2 or 3 things on your whole to-do list. The rest of the to-do list needs to be done, but those things, and they're different for every business. And also a green activity is actually doing the client work, whatever that client work is. So an orange activity is business development. The green is actually doing the work, building the funnel, whatever that is. So yeah, does that answer the question?
Absolutely. Thank you. So thank you very much for all the information. Before we say goodbye, just one more question. Where can we find you if we want more information or we want to get some help or advice from you? What's the best way to contact you?
Best way to find us is successbydesigntraining.com. And on that website, we've got a link to the book, which is available as an e-version right now. And on there also is links to all of the upcoming events that we do. We do events in person and online as well. And yeah, the links on there will be to our sort of free group on Facebook, the 888 community. We've got members from 14 countries around the world in this group. And yeah, A. Barnes author on social media. So yeah, I'm sure you'll put all the details in the comments. So anyway.
Exactly. This is what we are going to do. Thank you very much again for your time. We appreciate it, especially as a time manager or expert, time management expert. It's highly appreciated. Thank you very much for all the help and advice.
You are so welcome. It was so awesome to spend time with you.
Thank you.